Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias. I'm sure I'm going to go off on a couple tangents here. This is a response to an open tag that was begun by Big J's Knives. It was show us your 10 USA made lockbacks, or show us 10 USA made lockbacks. Now, I came across this when I was watching Singing Toad, and Singing Toad did not have 10 USA made lockbacks, so he actually combined this open tag with another Big J's Knives open tag, which was show us your 10 USA made fixed blades. I think we're going to leave the fixed blades to Skip and let him show you 10 USA made fixed blades. But I am going to attempt to show you 10 USA made lockback knives. And to be quite frank, I'm not sure if I have 10 USA made lockbacks. Now what we have here is the Buck 110. Now I would not even have this if someone had not given it to me. This was gifted to me by a viewer of the channel when I was talking about you do not need to have a Buck 110 in order to have a proper collection of knives, because what if all you're collecting are trappers? In any case, he felt that if I'm going to have a knife channel, I should at least have a Buck 110. And maybe there is some thought behind that, but I still believe that it's not required. I mean, what if all you are is into is modern folders? Well, in that case, I think maybe the Buck 110 is something you should include, because in my opinion, every modern folder out there is basically an attempt to improve on the Buck 110. So if it wasn't for the Buck 110, would there be other modern folders? Sure there would, but this is the one that kind of started it off. And the idea with it is this particular lockback, which they claimed was an improved lockback on their folding hunter. And what you have is the 5-inch lockback. This one has a 3 7/8 inch blade, I believe, 420 steel. You got the ebony handles and the brass bolsters and a really strong back lock here and a very strong blade. And that's the Buck 110. And like I said, I would not have this if it wasn't for the fact that someone gave it to me. But it's a fabulous knife, no doubt about that. And it has been one of the best-selling USA-made folders since its inception back in the 1970s. So it's a great knife. But when it comes to lockbacks, this is really what I tend to have on me, and that's the Dragonfly. And it's made by an American company, Spyderco, but it's actually made in Japan. And this is the knife I carry all the time, the Spyderco. Finally decided to get rid of the clip, and I'm getting used to it finally. It's surprising how often I use that clip for things other than securing it in my pocket, and it was really more for positioning my hand on the knife and everything. I had it set up for left-hand carry, and I'll probably end up putting the clip back on simply because the knife feels a little awkward without the clip on there, even though I never used the pocket clip. But this is not an American-made lockback, so that doesn't count. The other lockback that I carry on me now is this one here. We talked about that before, so I thought I'd give an update on it. This is the one that belonged to a friend of mine who passed away, and this one again is made in Japan, and this is by Jet Air. So it isn't that I have a hatred for lockbacks or anything. It's just that I don't use them too often. And most of the knives that I have, most of my American-made knives that have a locking blade actually have liner locks. I could easily do 10 USA-made liner lock knives, but I'm not sure if I'm going to make it to 10 USA-made lockbacks. So here's number 2 in my USA made lockback. It's another 5-inch lockback or folding hunter. This one is by Baron Son. I have shown it before, obviously. It's it's an official knife of the Boy Scouts of America. It's got wonderful slant bolsters, nickel silver bolsters in this case, brass liners. I believe the steel in this is 440 steel, and made by Bear MGC or Baron Son. And we see here the official knife, Boy Scouts of America. And it's got a nice pack of wood handle there, or what do you call it? Color wood, I think is what they called it by Baron Son. And I kind of really dig that one. So there's a second 5-inch lockback, similar to the Buck 110. So a while back, I got on this kick where I was picking up all sorts of FRN handles. I'm not sure why, but it hit me and I decided to start doing it, and realized I didn't have a Case Mini Blackhorn, so I went ahead and picked up the basic Case Mini Blackhorn. I mean, this one is as basic as you can get. It's just in your black craton. They also make them in a camouflage craton, but what they do most often with it is you see this flat black area here where there's no texture. They will often do all sorts of promotional designs in there, like they do it for like Ford, Chevrolet, John Deere. They've done it for the various branches of the military and so on and so forth, where they put a scene there and then they will change out the color of the craton and stuff like that. But it's a pretty cool little knife, and it's also the least expensive knife you're going to be able to get from Case. It uses a true sharp steel blade, so your 420 high carbon steel. A little bit of a drop point on this one. I don't know if they have other shapes on the blade or not. Very obviously just a satin finish. It's not highly polished or anything. Got a nice hollow grind going on it. An interesting factoid about it is, if you can see there's no dots on this. They don't even bother to date them because of how cheap they are, or how inexpensive they are, and how many of these they just pump out. This is also one of those knives that you will often find on the hanging packages, or the what do they call it, the cards instead of a box. These are not knives that are typically put in a box. They're just sold on a card and everything. The Case Mini Blackhorn. So there's number 3. As long as we're looking at black FRN, let's look at number 4 here. This one at least has a little brass accent over here. Obviously another lockback. I do not know what company actually made this, but this is a knife that was sold through Sears and is branded Sears stainless. You see there, USA 95413. Really nice knife. Again, a nice drop point, or you could almost call this one a spear point. Flat grind going on with it. I think this knife was probably made in the 1990s or so. I don't know for certain. Got texture up there. Really nice feeling knife and everything. Good size knife too. About a 4-inch handle with a 3-inch blade. Don't know exactly what company they contracted through to make it. I'm sure somebody out there could probably fill us in. Hopefully they'll leave it in the comments below. But there's my Sears lockback. For number 5, I'm breaking out my Camillis grandpa knife. Now this one has jig Delrin going on, and nickel silver bolsters. It is a lockback. This actually has a frame that can support 2 different blades. Notice how this has one lockback here. The reason this cutout is here is because they also make this knife or a knife similar to this with 2 blades, and the other blade is like a skinning blade, and that's what this bump here is for, because that's for a second lockback. So you have one lockback for one blade and a second lockback for the other blade. This one just has your basic clip blade. I like this knife a little bit more than the Buck 110, mainly because the blade is a little slimmer and a little longer, but obviously you can see that its heritage belongs to the Buck 110. Like the handle on this though. And this one was made in the waning years of Camillis, as you can see right there. Well, first of all, it's a grandpa knife. I think this was made somewhere around the 2000s. Camillis, New York, USA. But a really nice one. And that's number 5 of my lockbacks. Now, my number 6 knife is kind of related to a knife I saw on Singing Toad's video about this. As I mentioned, Singing Toad did not have 10 USA-made lockbacks or 10 USA-made fixed blades, so he kind of combined it, and one of the knives he showed was the Gerber Gator fixed blade. Well, I don't have the Gerber Gator fixed blade, but I do have the Gerber Gator folder, and it's also a pretty big knife. This is a 5-inch folding hunter style knife too, with the midlock going on, and you see the nice finger groove there, and then the blade, and you see this is the Gerber 650, Portland, Oregon, USA. You heard that snap. I mean, it really locks in place. I really like the comfortable handle they have on this. This is like it's kind of a rubbery material. It's some kind of thermoplastic, but I just really like the pattern they have on there. It's a very grippy knife, and it just feels great in the hand. If you got a big hand, this knife is even going to be more comfortable in it. I really like the Gerber Gator, the 650 Gerber Gator. Really nice knife. And number 7 is also a Gerber out of Portland, Oregon. And that's the Gerber Easy Out. This is an older one. You can see there it's the Gerber 450. And on this side it says Easy Out USA. Again with the midlock. So this was definitely influenced by the early Spydercos. You even see the scallop blade going on there, the half serrated blade. You got the thumb hole there. You do have a little bit of a choil you can choke up on there if you want to. It's all in all just a really good knife, and you got the lock back and it drops really good. I really like this knife. I like the again, the texture on the handle. You got the cutouts here, so it's really smooth. Now this did have a non-reversible pocket clip, but I removed it a long time ago. I didn't like it, and I'm a pocket dropper guy anyway, so there you have it. The Gerber Easy Out, that's number 7. And so number 8 is right here. This is a Buck Cub Scout knife. This is the 414. This is an early version of the 414. And this is another one of the Buck lightweight kind of knives. You see here it's called the Cub Light. Again, official knife of the Cub Scouts, so an official Boy Scout knife. See there, Buck 414. Again, it's a really inexpensive thermoplastic handle. Really nice knife though, and just a nice little drop point blade. Again with the Buck 420 high carbon steel. Nice hollow grind going on with that blade. Got a little support going on in the spine there. Just a terrific little knife. And I picked that one up because I was on this kick for the plastic handled knives, the lightweight knives. And so I got the Buck 414 Cub Light. And for number 9, I have the Buck Bantam 284. And now we start getting into, is this USA made? I mean, the box clearly says USA made of US and import parts. To me, that doesn't really matter much, because chances are the ebony wood on the Buck 110 is also a part sourced from overseas. That is not uncommon for wood and bone and so on and so forth on even older knives to have been sourced from overseas. I'm almost 100% sure that's what the case is here. The polymer handle, the FRN handle here, is probably made overseas and then shipped to Buck in the United States, and then it is assembled here. using the buck steel blades and so on and so forth. In any case, it's the Buck 284 Bantam, a one-hand opening knife. I guess you could almost consider this a modern style folder. It's got a really nice swedge up here and hollow grind going on. Definitely a nice lightweight knife. I really do like this knife. I have carried it a couple times, but I have other knives that I like better. I mean, I'm not a big fan of thumb studs. This knife is not nearly as drop shutty as my Dragonfly, so I'd much rather have the Dragonfly on me than the Buck 284. But I picked it up mainly because, well, that is the great grandson of the Cub Light here, so I wanted that one as well. And I do like the Buck Bantam series. I'm going to get probably a few more knives in the Buck Bantam. I like the Buck lightweight knives better than the 110, so I'll probably end up getting a lightweight version of the 110 in the near future. So this one I don't think is too questionable when it comes to USA made. This next knife is definitely USA made, but is this the lockback we're thinking about? And that's where we get into a problem, because I have now gone through my entire collection of knives at least 2 or 3 times looking to see if I have another USA made lockback, a traditional style lockback knife, one that has the lock either here or a mid-lock version of it. You know, either one of those I would have been happy with. But that is it when it comes to a mid-lock or a lockback for my USA made collection of knives. Now I have plenty of other lockbacks, but they're not USA made. Some of them are, most of them are out of China or Japan. Actually, most of them are out of Japan, but I do have quite a few also out of China. So what can be number 10? And I'm going to have to go with this one here. It is definitely USA made. It is the Schrade hunting and fishing knife, all stainless steel construction here. And it does lock, and the lock is on the back, but it's not what most people think of when you hear lockback. This is the lock. You slide that forward, the blade is now locked. It will not close on you. You pull it back and you can close the blade. So the lock is on the back. You slide it forward, now the blade is locked and will not really open easily. So that's number 10 for my locking or lockback USA made knives. That's the best I have when it comes to a USA made lockback for number 10. The other knife, it would also be a big stretch, and that is my Spyderco Para 3. The lock is on the back. It's a compression lock, and you push it, it opens, drop it, you know. So that's, the lock is on the back, but it's a compression lock, and technically I would think most people would consider a compression lock more of a liner lock design that just happens to be reached from the back of the knife. So not truly the lockback that we're thinking of. But that's it. I mean, after that, I have to go into knives made in Japan, knives made in Taiwan, or knives made in China for lockback knives. In theory, if you don't include this one, I've only got 9 USA made lockback knives. I'm kind of shocked myself, but maybe I'll need to remedy that. Let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with Tobias. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.